Here's the truth that no one has told you. Your content doesn't need to be better, but it needs to interrupt someone's brain. Because if no one watches past the first 2 seconds, it doesn't matter how valuable or smart your content is. Now, you're probably posting every day, you've probably got a solid idea, you've probably got a solid offer as well, but still, you have no retention, you have no pipeline, and no one's reaching out to you. You see, every creator online has been told the same lie, and that is just post daily, that consistency is the goal, that if you show up every single day, eventually your audience will show up too. But what is consistency if there isn't strategy backed behind it, right? If you are posting consistently without strategy, you're essentially just journaling publicly. So let me tell you a quick story. About a couple weeks ago, I decided to risk my entire Instagram account and start posting around about 5 videos per day for 5 days straight. Now, the content was very valuable. A lot of gate-kept secrets that I exposed to my audience that would help them grow their businesses. So the result of this was, yes, my reach did spike, my views jumped. But when I dived into the metrics and took a look at my retention graph, people were dropping off within the first 5 seconds. Even though I gave enough value, I didn't interrupt anybody's pattern, their scrolling pattern. I didn't earn their attention. So the conclusion of this was that reach is easy to obtain, very easy in fact, but retention is earned, and that's through structure. So now, I know what you're thinking. Is it just some fancy hook, a loud noise, or maybe even a flashy word? And the answer is no, it's not, right? Pattern interrupts are not just gimmicks you throw into a video. They're micro shocks to the human brain that manipulate them in a good way to make a certain decision about the person that they are viewing. They break the loop, they jolt curiosity. They make the brain say, wait, hold on, what was that? You know what I mean? When something catches your eye or even catches your ear. So that could be, a strange angle filmed. That could be the way you filmed it from a strange angle, top down, or even a cold opening, or a contradiction to one's belief, a visual freeze, or even just a weird question. Okay? So what matters is that it breaks the expectation of the viewer. Everyone's repeating the same opening lines, these are the top 3, and this is how you can do this, and blah 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 blah, right? Everyone's used to it. It seems like an ad at this point. So how do we actually create one of these pattern interrupts? Well, I use a simple formula called scene plus subversion. Now, you want to paint a familiar moment or a scene that your audience knows. Then you want to subvert it. You show them the truth behind that scene that they've known, right? Or flip the belief they have behind that. So here's some examples, right? Just very basic examples. Everyone tells you to make content, but no one tells you how to make people care. You're not stuck because of bad ideas, you're stuck because no one stops scrolling. Posting every day is not a strategy, it's a public hope. These are interrupts because they create discomfort, they demand clarity, they beg the question of, I need to know the reason why. Okay, they hook emotion, not just attention. They hook a pain point. So now let's talk about the gap that most creators never ever bridge, and that is retention to resonance. Getting someone to stop is your first win when it comes to content, right? Now you've broken the pattern, so there's your first win. Then making them feel something is your second win. And that's honestly where most content dies nowadays. It might look good, even high quality videos, highly edited videos, but the video itself just says nothing, right? There's no value to it, there's no resonance. Pattern interrupts grab the attention of your audience, okay? But the resonance builds the trust that keeps them within the video right to the end. So if the viewer doesn't see themselves in the content, if I'm not picturing myself in your pieces of content, right, I'm not going to stick that video through. I'm not going to watch to the end because I don't resonate enough with that video. Listen, you're going to have your 1 or 2 people that just simply hasn't been in a similar situation as you. But for the general of your niche, They need to be seeing themselves in that content, need to be seeing themselves living that pain. Therefore, they will trust you more because now you've identified that pain, and now you can position yourself as someone that can be the solution to that pain. So here's a challenge for you, right? Let's stop chasing the reach, right? Let's stop posting out of obligation, out of this feels like a chore, out of, oh, the algorithm is going to punish me because I didn't post it enough. That's simply not the case. While the algorithm does reward consistency, it also rewards retention. So start writing to interrupt people's brains. Let's start creating to resonate with our audiences. Because in a world, honestly, if you've seen all the content, everyone's just shouting a bunch of bullshit, right? It almost feels like an ad, you want to skip it after the first 5 seconds in that format. You just, okay, I can't be bothered, keep scrolling. You need to stop that. You need to stop people from scrolling. And you do that with pattern interrupts. And how do we keep them? The resonance. The only thing that wins nowadays is honestly, content that just connects with people. If you go in with the goal in mind of, I need someone to save this video, that's how you should be trying to resonate with someone. So wake people up, right? Make them believe something new, shift their belief, make them feel seen, make them feel like I'm talking to you right now, one-on-one. And then obviously after that, you can make them move forward in pretty much in any direction that you want. So this video wasn't about tactics, right? This isn't my top 3, blah, 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 blah. This was genuinely a video about understanding how the brain works. And if this hit, honestly, I don't want you to like, I don't want you to comment, I don't want you to even DM. I just want you to sit with this. And before you go post your next video, I want you to ask yourself one thing. What part of this is going to interrupt the scroll, right? What part of this content piece that I am going to create is going to interrupt the doom scrolling of this audience, of this viewer? Now, if you want a little extra value, go to my story. I've left a little something extra for you guys that can help you